This is Ailey from Typewriter Minutes. Today we're doing a for sale review on the Signature 440T.
So this is a Brother JP1 model made in 1970, and it's one of the cooler looking and more unusual looking Brother JP1 models. It's got a plastic body. It just has really cool lines to it. You could see the platen knob has, well, the carriage has this curve to it where it extends out to the platen knob, both on the right and the left. It's a dark gray, slate gray color. They have this in a bright yellow as well. I've never had my hands on one, but I'm still looking for one. Just a really cool looking machine. Instead of the typical metal carriage release lever, you have a plastic topper. There is a metal piece underneath, and then this screws on from the underside. It's a lot like a Webster XL500 because it has a tabulator, but unlike the Webster XL500, this one has a key set tabulator. So instead of being set just every 10 spaces, you can toggle this to set and clear your tabs just like you would on like a Smith Corona Silent Super. So they packaged an awful lot into a small footprint here. You can see it's got the touch control, and on I think every JP1 I've tried, it actually makes a noticeable difference whether it's on heavy touch or light touch. When I first got it, this was not working. The spring was just too loose, so I cut down the spring a little bit. Not an easy spring to get to, and reattached it, and it's working now. There were lots of other little gremlins that I had to fix in this thing, but now it's working like a champ. And we'll give you just a quick tour of the features. I already showed you the touch control, key set tabulator. It's got a dedicated wanted exclamation mark. It's got, like all Brother JP1s, it's a carriage shift, but it's a lightweight carriage shift. And unlike some of the other Brother JP1s, they've moved the carriage lock over to this side. Usually carriage lock is on this side, and it just shows you that they did change some of the mechanics on the Brother JP1s over the years. There's a few differences on the inside from this to some other JP1s, but that's a noticeable one, that they put the carriage lock over on this side. And that's it for the front of the machine. You got ribbon color selector here. Up here, got the paper bail. And they actually made, before this 440T, the prior version of this had a metal body. They had kind of a high forehead. Thankfully, I had a parts machine version of the slightly older version of the 440T, because this paper bail, after I took it apart, had this thing all apart, cleaned it, gave it a full chemical clean because it was pretty dirty on the inside. And when I put it back together, the paper bail only came down to about here. And I didn't notice that when I first got it. And not until I got the paper bail off did I see that somehow it got mangled, and I still can't figure out how to unmangle it. So thankfully, this paper bail is an exact match for the one on my parts machine, and it was also Elite. So I was fortunate that it's an exact match. So it has plastic card guide, which you don't see in a lot of Brother JP1s. Kind of nice. It keeps paper or index cards flat to the platen as you're typing. Back here, you do have a pop-up paper support. On the Webster XL500, the button's back here. Up here, it's on top. You just flip this guy forward, and out comes your paper rest. Kind of neat. It's got push and slide margins for left and right. Over on this side, you have the variable line spacing with this little button. Just push it in and you can do your fine line adjustments without the clicks. Up here at the line spacing, 1, 1.5, and 2. And then the R's the release position, which also releases the clicks. This one retains your line spacing. If you're typing H2O and you want to get back to your original lines, use this one as opposed to the variable line spacing over on the left. I'm going to hand this off to Ailey, and we're going to show you what's under the ribbon cover here. So this goes on differently than any other ribbon cover that I've seen. there's a little post on this side and a post on this side, and you have to slide it in from behind on each side here, so it actually helps to move the carriage out of the way a little bit, and it kind of slides in like that, and then pops down. So when you want to take it off, you can either lift up from the front, which is hard to do because the type slugs are right there, or just gently put your fingers here and lift up here with your thumbs. And you can see it has a post here that goes down into the springs here. That's what keeps the tension on this to keep it closed. So off comes the paper rest. I'll take the camera back here. And you can see the basket is very familiar if you've seen our other Brother JP1 videos. It does have ribbon reverse forks, and you have to have eyelets on the ribbons, which we've already installed, so when it gets to the end of the ribbon, the eyelet comes out, triggers these forks so that the ribbon goes back and forth slowly. And I think that's just about it for the features. This also has an eraser table up here, which we hope you'll never use because you don't want eraser shavings to go down into the machine. And I think that's it for features. We'll take a quick look at the case here next. Just really interesting lines to this machine. Oh, the body comes off differently than other plastic bodied brothers like the JP7s. This one kind of snaps on. There's a few screws you have to get off, and then there are little clips on each side here. I can't remember if there's one in the back, and then one on here, and it kind of snaps off. Fortunately, I saw a post from a Canadian typewriter collector named Rick up in Canada, and he did a post once about when he took this version of or when he took this model apart. There's a little pin down in here. I don't know if you could see it. Right down in there, there's a little metal pin, and if you don't take that little metal pin out, it's impossible to get this part of the body off. So you have to get some tweezers and get that little pin out of there to get the body off. I'm glad I saw that post because otherwise it would have taken a while to figure out why the body was not coming off. A few things I forgot to mention. There's your paper release lever right there. Get the paper in crooked. And then this does have a paper guide as well that slides over depending on where you want your paper to start. And I was going to show the bottom of the machine real quick. It's in good shape, and rubber feet are in good shape. And then last, I was going to mention that the signature line of typewriters, there's other signatures, but the signature line of typewriters was sold through Montgomery Ward. Oh, there it is. Department store. So it was a rebranded Brother sold through Montgomery or Monkey Wards.
Now let's look at the case.
So it has a plastic hard shell case, which is in good shape. It was really filthy dirty when I got it. It gave it a nice cleaning. It's hard to tell if you don't know which way's up, which is the top of the machine. A lot of times latches like this are on the bottom, but on this one it's on the top. So all you do is squeeze those two latches, and then it opens up. And you can see there's no locking mechanisms to keep the typewriter in place. It just rests on here. Has these little plastic fins around each corner to keep it from moving around. A couple of those little plastic fins broke off. Like there's two there, one down here. But the machine still stays in place, even with a couple of those fins gone. And then it has these foam blocks up on top. And so after you get the machine in there, this comes down and the foam block keeps the typewriter in position. So that's a look at the case. We'll do the type test next.
And now for the type test.
Okay, Brother JP1s, every one that I've ever had has a nice soft platen, so you don't have to worry about getting that recovered. So you could probably get away with one piece of paper, but I always use two. just as a habit. Do a couple lines on black on our wobbly table. Oops. There's the bell. There's the line lock. So margin release to get into the margin. We'll do a couple lines on red. Super snappy, super responsive. This Brother JP1 sounds less rattly than the metal body Brother, so excellent little typer, really responsive keys. The touch control makes a difference, so you can set it how you like, and you can see the print quality is really good if you'll just ignore the typos. So if you're looking for a lightweight, very responsive, excellent little typer, this machine could be for you. I forgot to point out the little made of Cycolac ABS polymers, which I think is just a fancy way of saying plastic. But at least from some of the Google searches I've done, this plastic is supposed to be, I don't know, harder to break than some other plastic body typewriters. So anyway, so far it's survived the test of time. Looks really good.
If you're interested in buying this typewriter, you can contact us directly.
Or we will put a link to the eBay sale down in the comments.
Thanks for joining us in Typewriter Minutes. Make sure to share, link, like, and subscribe. Bye.